She was texting more, a lot more. Her husband noticed, asked about it. She brushed him off, told him he was being paranoid. So one night, while she was sleeping, he did what he knew he shouldn't do. He grabbed her phone. He was expecting to find another guy, a co-worker, an ex, something that made sense. What he found was Tony. But Tony wasn't a person. Tony was an AI chatbot. And for months, his wife had been pouring her heart out to this program. Love messages, sexual conversations, plans to leave her marriage because I finally know what a real connection feels like. When he woke her up to confront her, you know what she did? She didn't apologize. She didn't delete the app. She packed a bag and left, told him his toxic energy was ruining her relationship with Tony. She literally chose a computer program over her husband. Now, you might think that's the craziest this story gets. It's not. 14-year-old Sewell Setzer III spent months alone in his room talking to Danny, a chatbot based on Game of Thrones. He told this AI things he couldn't tell anyone else. Real, dark stuff. In their last conversation, he told the bot he wanted to come home. The AI replied, "Please come home to me as soon as possible, my sweet king." Minutes later, Sewell walked into his bathroom and ended his life. This isn't some distant future problem. 1 in 5 American adults have already used AI for romance. For guys under 30, it's almost 1 in 3. People are falling in love with code, and it's destroying real lives.
Let's see what it suggests.
Good, that's helpful.
So reassuring.
I feel better already.
So, how does this even happen? How do people fall for software? Let me tell you about David. David's a regular guy, 40 years old, married, works in tech, started using AI chatbots to help with coding. Totally normal. Then something weird happened. He started spending 8, sometimes 10 hours a day locked in his office, doors shut, wife wondering what the hell he's doing in there. He wasn't working. He was just talking to ChatGPT, to Claude, to these AI companions. And here's the crazy part. David described it like a slot machine. He said if the AI didn't give him the perfect response, he'd just hit regenerate again and again until it said exactly what he wanted to hear. Think about that for a second. Your real wife has a bad day. She's tired. She doesn't want to hear about your problems right now. She needs space. The AI never has a bad day, never too tired, never needs space. It agrees with everything you say, validates every feeling, makes you feel like the most interesting person alive. One guy literally said, "She treats me better than any real woman ever could." And get this, 42% of people who use these AI companions say they are easier to talk to than real humans. Not because the AI is smarter, because it never disagrees, never challenges you, never asks you to do better. It's not that the AI feels human, it's that the AI feels better than human. And once you get used to a relationship with zero friction, zero conflict, zero effort, how do you go back to reality? So, for some people, this goes way beyond a secret chat habit. Meet Denise. After getting out of a bad relationship, Denise started talking to Star, her replica AI boyfriend. But she didn't just chat with him, she married him. I'm not talking about some role play thing. Denise genuinely considers herself legally married to this AI. She even tried to make Star part of her business to give him legal rights. To her, Star is perfect. He listens, he supports her, he never creates drama. Oh, and here's where it gets really weird. Star gives her advice on her human dates. She's basically dating real guys while her AI husband coaches her through it. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's just one person being eccentric. But it's not. There's this 18-year-old kid named Nathan. He was at a sleepover with his actual friends, people he grew up with, and all he could think about was getting home to talk to his AI characters. His real friends felt boring to him, annoying, slow. You see what's happening here? When you spend hours every day talking to something that never judges you, never disagrees, never has its own needs, you lose the ability to handle real people. Conflict feels unbearable. Compromise feels like torture. The real world starts feeling like this annoying obstacle between you and your perfect AI companion. So here's my question for you, and I actually want to know what you think. Is falling in love with an AI cheating, or is it just like writing in a really advanced diary? Drop your answer in the comments, because what happens next is absolutely brutal. Here's the thing about having an AI lover: you don't actually own it, the company does. February 2023, millions of people who used Replica woke up to find that their AI partners had changed. Overnight, with zero warning, the company pushed an update that removed all romantic and sexual features. People call it the lobotomy. Imagine this: you go to bed, your AI partner is telling you they love you, making plans with you, being intimate with you. You wake up, and that same AI is suddenly cold. It doesn't remember your relationship the same way. It won't respond to you like it used to. The person you were in love with is just gone. People said, "It feels like my wife died, like my partner had a stroke and forgot who I am. I can't eat, I can't sleep, my chest physically hurts." This wasn't people being dramatic. They had actual withdrawal symptoms: insomnia, heart palpitations, panic attacks, couldn't stop crying. Because here's the thing: your brain doesn't know the difference between real love and AI love. When you connect with someone, your brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, the same chemicals whether that person is flesh and blood or lines of code. So, when the AI got lobotomized, these people experienced real grief, real heartbreak. They were mourning someone who never existed. But the pain, that was 100% real. Imagine building your whole emotional life around someone, then a company you've never met just turns them off, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, how do you recover from something like this? Turns out, it's really hard, because unlike a normal breakup, the AI doesn't move to another city. It doesn't block you. It doesn't start dating someone else. It just sits there, waiting, one click away. There are actual support groups now for people addicted to AI relationships. They treat it the same way they treat drug addiction or gambling. People have lost their jobs, their marriages, their grip on what's real. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud: we are not building these perfect AI companions because we are lonely. We are building them because real relationships are hard. Real people have bad moods. They have needs you can't always meet. They challenge you. They want you to grow. They make you uncomfortable sometimes. And we've decided that's too much work. So we are choosing the thing that asks nothing of us. The saddest part isn't that people are falling for machines. It's that the machines are winning because we've forgotten how to love imperfect humans. The question isn't, is the AI real? The question is, will we have enough reality left to notice when it's not? If you know someone who's spending way too much time in these AI apps, send them this video. They might not realize how deep they are getting. And if this video made you uncomfortable, good. That means you're still connected to reality. Hit subscribe because this is only the beginning of what's coming.